Welcome again to this week's episode of LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I am your host, Bronagh Morgan, and you tuned in again. Or if you're new to the show, this is the show where we talk about what you're talking about. We have sometimes a political focus, but in my opinion, everything is political. So there is politics behind everything you do, what you eat, where you live, and the sports that you have access to on TV and the ones that you're able to play as well. What a privilege I have today to have a little chat with somebody that I think a lot of people in London have talked about for the last few years now, and in particular in the summertime. It is Olympian Suzanne Granger. So Suzanne, obviously, you know the name if you have not been, avoiding all kinds of news here in London. She was a member of the women's 8 rowing team that medaled gold in the Summer Olympics in Tokyo this year. And she is also one of the fantastic athletes that's representing an organization that you are going to want to know about. Thank you so much for taking the time today, Suzanne, to join us. And I believe you're in BC.
I am, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm based in Victoria, BC on the island.
Fantastic. So still training out there? Are you able to train this time of year in BC? I have never actually visited BC myself other than the interior.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not currently training right now, but the team is able to train year round out here. It's one of the reasons that the team was eventually centralized in BC, was for sort of the more all around training climate. And so, yeah, I believe that there are members of the national team training right now.
Oh, fantastic. So, I know that you've spoken to a few of our news people here and journalists here in London back in the summertime. What a historic journey that I guess is not over, but that culminated this summer in Tokyo with your gold medal. I know you've been with your team for a few years now, working your way through international competitions, winning some bronzes, winning some silvers, and then that gold in Tokyo. What incredible time it was to be a Londoner watching that team and that Olympics. It was really something else for our city. Talk to us a little bit about your journey as an athlete starting out here in London and, how things are going now.
Yeah, I actually started rowing in London, Ontario 18 years ago. So it's been a long journey to this point. I started training on Lake Fanshawe when I was 13. So it was, I really started, I guess, quite young in rowing. You don't have to start young. You can actually get into it at a later age, but the sport really gripped me at that point. I'd never, in all honesty, heard of rowing before that. So a family friend said, hey, let's give this a try. You're really tall. And it stuck. I really enjoyed it. And so, after a university scholarship to the University of Virginia and then coming back and competing internationally for Canada while completing a master's degree at Western University. It's been a long but exciting journey. And so starting in London, I did a lot of training on Lake Fanshawe leading into the Rio Olympics in 2016. Put many hours into that lake. But I think what really sticks with me in our journey to this gold medal in Tokyo was really this last year in the delay of the games. So much changed. We had to overcome so much adversity as a team. But I think we really found a way to use that extra year delay as a benefit for us rather than a hindrance. And I think that's something that really gave us a leg up on the competition. We didn't lose a single team member throughout that year. I mean, everyone stayed. We didn't lose someone to retirement, which is impressive considering when you go from 42 days out from the Olympics to then find you have 365 days plus. It can be a lot. I mean, especially when somebody like me, you've planned for Tokyo to be your final Olympics, and you then find out you have an extra year to go versus a couple of months. And so it was a big change, but I think that we really did everything that we could in that final year to make the most of it and become the fastest group of women that we could, and it paid off. It was an exciting time together.
Absolutely. And exciting to watch as well. Good to know that being tall is one of the advantages of rowing. So now I feel less bad. I went to school at Trent where rowing is a really big deal, and never made it onto any kind of competitive team. So now I feel a little bit vindicated. It wasn't just a lack of hard work, it's a lack of height. A little bit. Talk to me then about, are you still in touch with all of your teammates, and what's next for women's rowing here in Canada?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do speak with my teammates quite frequently. I mean, when you go through what we do as a team together 24/7 for years on end, it's hard to sort of leave everybody behind, because when the Olympics are done, everyone sort of disperses and goes home and travels. And so it's strange to not be around them all the time. And so we do communicate quite frequently. It's been a while since we've all gotten together in person. I think there was a reunion at Head of the Charles in October, which I didn't attend because I was actually on my honeymoon. So
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't see everybody then, but there were a number of the Women's 8 members at my wedding. And so it was nice to see everybody there as well. But we do communicate frequently. I mean, we're a family at this point. But I think what's next for women's rowing in Canada is really just opportunity. We've, got an open door at this point. There's many things that will likely change, but then that need to change. But there's so much that can be positive moving forward from, the success that we've had this past year, and the things that we know we can now learn from. And so I think that with, the right people at the helm and making sure that we're all driving for success in our own ways, that there's great things to come from women's rowing in Canada.
Fantastic to hear. And now the Winter Olympics just happened. Do you spend a lot of time watching, and were there any highlights for you in terms of just as an athlete on the sidelines now watching other people competing for Canada?
Yeah, I think it's really cool as an athlete to see, your fellow Canadians going out there and achieving their dreams, and especially having been at that international level and competing and knowing what those moments feel like, the highs and the lows. It's incredible to watch and to cheer them on. And I mean, the sports world can be quite small. And so even outside of rowing, I do know some of the women that were competing at the games and the Winter Games that just concluded. And so it's exciting to watch and know the feelings of joy that come from being able to, live your dream and put on the maple leaf and compete for Canada on the world stage. So just to become an Olympian and get to that point takes so much work and so much effort. And I'm just so proud of what Canada has done. And so seeing everyone compete, and it's inspiring. It always gets me excited.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to watch, as somebody who is an outsider to this kind of level of competition. So you talked a little bit about starting when you were 13. How much support did you need at that point in terms of getting passionate about the sport, getting training for that sport? And who would you say was instrumental in getting you involved?
I would say that my parents and my very first rowing coach, Bob Ward, were the people who really started it all for me. I think it's so important in a sport at any age, but especially when you're getting into it at a young age, to have fun and to feel that passion and that love for it. And I think that's one of the reasons I actually stuck with rowing, because being 6'2" and being really tall, I was always told, oh, you could be great at all sports, like basketball, volleyball, you're tall, stereotypically I should be good, but I tripped on my feet and I just wasn't coordinated. And so when I found rowing, Bob was the first coach that made me feel like when I put the effort in, I saw progress. And so working with Bob, he really made me feel like I was living up to that potential that I'd heard I'd had for years, but had never truly seen. And so I think it's so important to have fun and to find a support system that really allows you to have that passion and enjoy what you're doing, and, work hard, but find the great parts of it too. And I mean, it's a lot of work. There are days where it's not fun, but that's okay. It's part of the journey. And I think one thing that I learned was not to take no for an answer. I had many universities say, you're not good enough, and all you need is one person to say yes. And I mean, here I am now with a gold medal and 21 plus international medals under my belt, and I had that one person to believe in me, and that's really what it took. So I credit a lot of my success to my first rowing coach, Bob Ward, and my parents.
Fantastic. And I guess we're all really grateful to those people for encouraging you on your journey, and all of the other people that have contributed to you being able to reach your potential in this way, because what a joy to watch. We're going to have to take a short break, Suzanne. So please stay with us, viewers. We're going to be talking to Suzanne a little bit more after the break here on LDN ONT TV.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Carbon monoxide is a deadly gas you can't see, smell, or taste.
Homes with fuel-burning appliances and/or attached garages must have working CO alarms installed outside all sleeping areas.
Don't let the silent killer get you. Install working CO alarms today.
Night's action on Rogers TV.
Leonard Thompson, 13 years old, diabetes mellitus, 65 pounds.
Starve the child to let them live. The treatment's as cruel as the disease. It's a death sentence.
Dr. Banting, this could be it. He's the first to receive this trial. But will it save him? It's not pure enough.
So we try again. And again. And again.
Before the discovery of insulin, diabetes was a death sentence. Banting, Best, Collop, and McLeod's breakthrough has saved millions of lives. Leonard Thompson's was the first.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back to LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I am your host, Bronagh, and we have been having an awesome conversation with an awesome Londoner who's now in BC, joining us from the sunny, hopefully, or maybe rainy west coast of Canada, Suzanne Granger. So Suzanne, we talked a little bit about, your journey as an Olympian, as an athlete, and then an Olympian. Now you have a new role, and that is the Director of Operations with an organization called 150 Women. Can you talk to me a little bit about the history of the organization and why you wanted to get involved, why you're so passionate about it?
Absolutely. Can Fund is a charity that was founded in 2003 by Jane Roos to really support athletes on their journey to compete for Canada and fill a funding gap. Many people don't know, but a lot of athletes live in debt. It's very expensive to pay for equipment, physio, nutrition. It's a lot, and so Can Fund started in 2003 and to support athletes on that journey. And Can Fund 150 Women was actually founded in 2017, so it's much newer, but it's really about women paying their success forward and supporting female athletes. And so it's been an exciting 4 years. We've just hit an epic milestone of 500 female athletes supported. So that's over $3 million of funding that's given to female athletes at this point. And so to explain a little bit about sort of how it works, when an athlete applies to Can Fund or Can Fund 150 Women, we usually have 2 application phases in a year. And if you're selected to receive funding, you receive $6,000. And so it covers so much. Like I mentioned, the equipment, team fees, like the majority of athletes rely on CanFund. Since 2003, CanFund has funded over 85% of all of the athletes that have competed at the games. And so it's one of the largest direct financial funder of athletes that compete for Canada. But CanFund 150 Women specifically started in 2017, and so we're young. But I'm so passionate about this charity, and specifically CanFund 150 Women, because on my journey to the games, I was actually funded by CanFund 150 Women 3 times. And so I'm a multiple recipient. So I know firsthand, having been supported by the charity, what a difference it makes. And, knowing that women across Canada are backing you, like that, knowing that you have the support of thousands of women across the nation is just, there's no way to describe what that means. And so to be able to now be on the inside, helping CanFund 150 Women continue to give the opportunities that I had as an athlete financially to more women is really inspiring. It's a cool full circle movement to be a part of.
Fantastic. So are athletes that want to apply to a program like this, how are you limited? What kind of sports do you fund? Is it everything that's at the Olympics, or?
Yes, CanFund and CanFund 150 Women is very inclusive. We fund summer, winter, able-bodied, para, everybody. You need to just be competing internationally for Canada. You don't have to be an Olympian yet. A lot of the CanFund's unique in the sense that when CanFund supports athletes when they're out of the spotlight. Everybody loves watching the Olympics and, celebrating and cheering the athletes on when they're in that big moment. But it's the years and the effort and the work behind it when athletes are in the trenches that, really matter and really make a difference to how you perform at the games. And so that's when CanFund really shines, is we support the athletes in those years where no one is watching, and help them get to that point where they can be the best athlete they can be and strictly focus on training. Some of the winter athletes that just competed at the games, their team fees are as high as $30,000, and that's out of pocket. And so it's impossible as an athlete, if you're, training full time, to try to be able to cover that, because you don't have time to get a full-time job. And so CanFund really gives the athletes that opportunity to take some of that financial stress off and focus strictly on being the best athlete you can be in representing Canada.
And obviously firsthand what that means to have maybe that one extra piece of stress kind of taken off, so you don't have to worry so much maybe about either rent or buying healthy food, things like that. This can fund basically just your living expenses, I would assume, right?
Absolutely. And that's another unique thing about CanFund is, unlike other sponsors that can give product, CanFund hands you the check and says, this is for you to use for what you need. If that means paying your rent, great. If that means you got to put it towards getting a car to take you to practice, awesome. But it's for whatever that athlete needs in order to get to their highest level of training and support them.
Fantastic. Now, if you're on the non-athlete side and potentially want to get involved as a donor, how does that work?
Yeah, it's very simple. To join CanFund 150 Women is a donation of $150 or more. You've got an online website where you can donate. You can also just donate strictly to CanFund. But if you want to donate to CanFund 150 Women, you're actually joining a network of over 2,000 women across Canada at this point. So it's growing. And as the CanFund 150 Women Director of Operations, it's my goal to introduce everyone in Canada to this charity. And so my challenge to women in Canada would be, donate, become a member, support these female athletes competing for Canada and make a difference in their life, but then also introduce CanFund 150 Women to other women that you know, share it, spread it, because it's in my experience that people want to help athletes, they just don't know how. And sometimes they don't know that it's very expensive to be an athlete. And so when you donate to Can Fund 150 Women, you are backing the success of a female athlete and paying your own success forward. You're really investing in inspiration for Canada.
It's a fantastic opportunity. And especially in the month of International Women's Day, what a cool idea to get involved with. Now, we usually end our show, Suzanne, with a young person. So do you have anything maybe quick and inspirational for young athletes who are maybe just starting out on their journey, and maybe you see somebody like you and thinks maybe someday I could get there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best piece of advice that I received growing up was to have fun. I even forget now sometimes that it's important to enjoy the process and have fun. It's going to take time. Looking at me now and seeing that I have a gold medal, it's sometimes easy to forget everything that would have come before that. And so knowing that it takes time, it takes patience, but to enjoy the process. Don't be focused on that end result. Just really have a great time doing it. And you'll meet awesome people along the way. And like I said before, don't take no for an answer. If you really want it, go for it. Find that person who will help you get there, and surround yourself with incredible people.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for taking the time today, Suzanne, to chat with us. We're going to have to take another short break, but we'll be back with more LDN ONT TV after this.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye to an old friend. But when you're saying farewell to your vehicle, Kidney Car makes it fast and easy. Just call or visit our website. We'll take any vehicle in any condition and give you a tax receipt for a minimum of $300. No headaches and no towing charges. It's the one-stop solution for getting rid of your unwanted vehicle in just a few short minutes. When your vehicles reach the end of the road, call us toll-free or visit kidneycar.ca.
Jeff from Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff. We're back for season 3. We've had the opportunity to see some great backyards and have some great barbecue. Join us, Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff.
I'm Shannon Woolley, host of Batter Up Beachville on Rogers TV. Join myself and Doug Harris as we learn more about the first recorded baseball game in Beachville.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back to LDN ONT TV. We've had a fascinating conversation today with a Olympian from London, Ontario, Suzanne Granger. Now we're joined by another competitive athlete here from London. Her name is Georgia, and Georgia is a competitive cheerleader. Welcome to the show, Georgia.
Hi, Bronagh.
So, Georgia, talk to us a little bit about your journey as a competitive athlete. I know you've been cheerleading now for, I think it's about 8 years.
Yeah.
So how did you get started? What was it that inspired you to get into competitive cheerleading?
So it was actually funny. In grade 3, they were just handing out like flyers to all the girls, and they were like, you can sign up, blah, blah, blah. And I brought it to my mom, and we were with my cousin who already did cheer at that point. And she was like, you should totally sign up. Like, I have so much fun doing this. And so my sister and I, we asked our mom to sign us up for it. And yeah.
Okay, and so it's, I think, 7-8 years later now, it's a team sport like Suzanne is involved with rowing. So how much fun, because Suzanne really put the emphasis on working hard, but also having fun with your athletics, is it to be a competitive cheerleader on a team?
Yeah, so when you're on like a cheer team, especially, there's like, you can like create really strong bonds with everyone on your team, especially in like your specific stunt groups and stuff. Like, you become really close with everyone on your team, which is what I really love. And you're able to like talk about like where you went wrong or what you did well on, or like anything like that, which is always really nice. And yeah, I've just always had fun doing this sport. So
now we chatted a little bit before we were recording about some of the challenges that you have had as a team over the last couple of years, obviously not being able to get into the gym, but also some successes you've had recently. So in the last couple of minutes that we have here, can you talk to our viewers a little bit about how that's going?
Yeah, so our first competition was in November and my team won. We were in a division of 6 teams and we did really well at that competition. It was actually a competition to raise awareness for breast cancer. So all like the proceeds go to breast cancer. It's called Cheer for the Cure. And then just Saturday, we had another competition and I'm pretty sure we did really well. I'm not sure about the results because the awards are happening later tonight. So it's nice.
And how was it to be back in the gym and back in competition again after having, I guess, a long time that you weren't able to work with your teammates and work out in the same way that you were before COVID?
It felt really good. Obviously, it's different because there's like mask mandates and stuff like that, but it felt really nice to be able to get back into the thing that I love. So that's really nice.
Awesome. Now, for other people who would, look at somebody like you, for example, and see that you have been working on this for a long time. Now you're working at a competitive level, getting some success, maybe an inspiring thing for younger women or younger athletes that are thinking about getting into cheer.
Yeah. So, I feel like I really love it because it's like all inclusive, like anyone can do it. Even like guys do it. Like I have a boy on my cheer team this year and people with disabilities can do it. There's a bunch of like different divisions and stuff, which is why I love it because anyone, any abilities can do it. So it's really nice.
What other things do you do with your time when you're not doing cheer, Georgia?
I like to read sometimes and I like working out. And then, I don't know, I kind of have been very busy with schoolwork. So that's something.
It's nice to be, and is it nice to be back?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm very, very happy about it.
Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us today, Georgia, competitive cheerleader, as well as our first guest, Suzanne Granger, former Olympic gold medalist. I guess you keep that for the rest of your life, and director of 150 Women. And thank you for joining us, viewers, for this episode of LDN ONT TV. We hope you will tune in again next week. Take care and have a great week.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids?
Drugs are out there. Will my teen feel free to say no around other kids?
I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids?
Drugs worry me, but how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Drug-Free Kids Canada.
Monday nights, a winner with Optimus TV Bingo on Rogers TV. With a weekly prize board of $3,000, the money raised